Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host as usual, and obviously welcome back to the show. Today's episode this is episode 201 now because, well, we already did episode 200, so this is episode 201, and I greatly appreciate you guys coming back and listening to these episodes, to, well, downloading them, to sharing them, to constantly keep letting me know how you feel, because, well, that's the only reason we keep doing this stuff, is because you guys like interacting with me and you like hearing my stupid opinions. I do greatly appreciate all the love and support that you guys constantly have given me, especially because we're coming up on the 3-year anniversary of the show, which is still crazy to think about, that we've been doing this for, well, almost 3 years now. Still crazy to think about that, not gonna lie. But I greatly appreciate all the love and support. Again, thank you to the Patreon backers as well, because you've been supporting us since day one. So I greatly appreciate you guys. I also want to say thank you to, well, everybody that's come along this journey with me so far. I really appreciate it. And all the new people that have, well, jumped on, whether it be on this episode, maybe the past couple episodes. I also do want to say Happy New Year to everybody. This is the first episode of the new year, and I'm excited for this new year. And what better way to kick off the new year by talking about, well, things that I'm excited for this new year. And I primarily want to focus on pieces of tech that have me excited for this year based on things that I've heard. And, well, since this is the start of the year, and at the time of this recording, CES is currently underway, so we will be doing our coverage of that once it has, come and gone, and all the exciting stuff that I want to talk about has already, well, happened, or if anything interesting pops up. But there are some pieces of tech and things in the industry right now that have me excited for this year. And I do want to jump on this one first, because as you guys know, for photography, I run my own photography business as well, with photography and videography. I'm primarily a Fuji shooter, so I currently shoot on a Fuji X-T4 with the 16-55 f2.8 lens, and then currently my new edition, the 33 f1.4. And to me, this year is going to be a very interesting and exciting year for Fuji. There have been rumors talking about that there would be 3 bodies coming out this year based on the rumor reel. Primarily, Fuji has announced that in this year they would be releasing a camera with their new stacked, BSI sensor, or backside illuminated sensor. And for me, I'm very excited this year, especially for the Fuji bodies, that because of the stacked sensor, if you guys don't know what that is, it's, well, look at cameras, say like the Z9, the Sony A1, or the Canon R3. Well, I don't know if the A1 is a stack sensor. Don't quote me on that. We'll probably have to go look at that up. I know the R3 and the Z9 are. And the point of those cameras is because of the faster readout speed. That's the main benefit with the stack sensor, is a faster readout speed. And to have that on a Fuji body, which, to be honest, in terms of photos, yes, the Fuji's autofocus is really good. Is it perfect for sports? No, I'm being honest with you. Is it perfect for, say, wildlife or like fast moving objects? Also no. And also the video autofocus isn't the best. For me, it works for what I do, especially sitting down and recording, head footage for the show when we actually can. Because obviously our cam link is being really stupid and I despise that thing now. But I'm really excited that if this new sensor does improve the autofocus in the new bodies, whether it be the XH2 or the XT5, for me, that would be a big jump. It has to be like a massive improvement. Like a stack sensor on that body would definitely, especially because it's APS-C as well. If you guys don't know, there's different sensor sizes. So there's micro four thirds, there's APS-C, there's full frame, there's medium format, and the Fujis primarily are APS-C, besides the medium format line, the GFX line. For me, a stack sensor on the APS-C sensor would be, well, incredible. I think it would be incredible in terms of autofocus speed, in terms of readout speed, the higher burst rates. It there's people thinking that on, say, a sensor the size of an APS-C sensor, that the readout speed could maybe be, we could probably get something crazier than the A1 at 30 frames per second and probably bump it up to maybe like 40 or 50, which I wouldn't be surprised. It's a much smaller sensor compared to full frame. So it makes sense that you're probably able to move more data across a smaller sensor if it was stacked. And again, if it is true that this new sensor, that would mean that also with the rumors with the XH2, that there would be two bodies, two models, that one would be the traditional 26 megapixel sensor with the new sensor itself. And then the other one would be the 40 megapixel sensor. And that would be the highest that Fuji has done on their crop sensor style cameras. And personally, if everything is true, if the autofocus is incredible, if it's basically close to the A1 or like Canon R3 or the Nikon Z9, then yeah, to me, I would definitely upgrade from my X-T4. It would be it would be a massive upgrade, especially that higher resolution sensor for higher quality photos, for higher resolution. And at the same time, what mainly I don't want to happen is usually what happens with higher sensors or higher megapixel count sensors is the reduction in dynamic range due to the larger sensor size. If the noise performance, the ISO performance, and primarily the dynamic range still continue to be that excellent quality that Fuji has always had with their sensors, then yeah, I'm upgrading 100%. Like that's not a debate for me. I want that higher megapixel sensor, especially because Fuji seems to be updating their lenses now to really, well, with the faster autofocusing motors as well, but they also seem to be much higher quality. So it makes sense that you want a higher res sensor that is able to push those lenses to the limit. Prime example, like the new 23-1.4, or prime example, like the one that I just bought, the 33-1.4. And then in time, if they decide to update the 56-1.2, which is another thing that I'd be excited for if it did come out this year, because the main problem that I have with that lens is the autofocus is, well, really bad and really slow. That's the one downside with that lens, but it is one of the most popular lenses for portrait photography in the Fuji lineup because of its incredible reproduction of bokeh and just the unique characteristics that that lens has, that it just always produces some of the best looking portraits you will ever see. And it's just an incredible lens. So I hope they get an update. I hope that they will add weather sealing to it, because that's the main thing that it needs. It needs weather sealing. It also, well, needs better autofocusing motors. So I think adding weather sealing, I think adding the updated autofocusing motors, and if they wanted to go all in, put IS in it, put in stabilization in it. I think that wouldn't be a bad idea, especially because only a couple of lenses in Fuji's lineup even have OIS, or optic image stabilization. Primarily the one that I want to get, the 50-140 f2.8, which I will get that lens eventually again. I will, because I rented it and I used it for a couple shoots and I absolutely love that lens. But enough of the camera stuff, because you guys are probably going to hate me for that. Let's talk about AMD and NVIDIA. And this year is a big year. At the time of this recording, NVIDIA and AMD and Intel have all done their press conferences for CES. So we will be talking about those things in greater detail in their own specific episode. But to just give a little bit of roundup, main things excited for AMD side, 6000 series CPUs and updated GPUs as well, and for the laptop space specifically. And then the main thing that they didn't talk about, which is the one thing I'm excited for, is the 7000 series desktop CPUs along with the new Am5 platform, which, based on what we have seen and what they've shown off, that they will be switching to the style of chip that Intel uses with their boards, the LG style. And so instead of like the traditional where you pop it into place and it doesn't have it doesn't have like this socket that you just slap it into. It's, well, the way that Intel does it, I know I'm making it sound super weird, but it's basically a socket that you slide it into and it doesn't have pins and you just like connect it in. There you go. Unlike the current one, where the Am4 platform, where yes, the CPUs have pins at the bottom and you have to slide it into a little area and hopefully you don't bend the pins, which, trust me, I've done that a couple of times. I'm not going to lie to you. But the reason I'm excited is if the performance gains are AMD's usual track record, and the fact that they are going to a new architecture, the fact that they are, this is the Am5 platform, it's going to be using DDR5, PCIe Gen 5.0, and at the same time, if the improvements have been consistent with what AMD does every single generation, then yes, to me, it would make sense to upgrade this year, coming from a 3900X, jumping up to, say, a 7900X, or maybe even a 7700X or 7800X. For me, yes, you also have to keep in mind the prices of DDR5 as well and the Am5 platform for motherboards. So prices will go up, and they even admitted it, even though they didn't talk about it so much at CES. They primarily focused on the laptop space right now, which makes sense because that's what AMD always likes to do at CES, is primarily focus on the laptop space at the start of the year at CES, and then eventually talk about the desktop processors near the second half or second quarter. But that is for the AMD side. That's the most exciting thing. I'm excited to see how these new processors and the new chipset turn out. In terms of NVIDIA, it is very exciting because, well, exciting in the sense that hopefully they might get more GPU stock. But the main things that people are excited for this year would be, to start off the year, is a 3050 coming out. We already knew this was coming. So having a new entry-level GPU for people that just want to play 1080p, which is kind of funny that you use a 3050 to play 1080p and you have me with a 3070 playing only at 1080p. So lol. But having this affordable option, do I think it's going to stay affordable forever? No, because, well, we're still in a chip shortage and crypto mining is still a big thing. So even though, yes, this thing's MSRP is about, I think it was $249 if I was correct. I'm fact checking that for you guys right now, because at the time it's recording, it is, yes, $249. It will launch on January 27th with 8 gigabytes of G6 or DDR6 RAM or G6. And to be honest, for a card that inexpensive, I think it's a good value. Do I think it's going to be at that price if you try to buy it? Probably not, since scalping is still a very popular thing, which, heck, people even try to scalp many things, like the Spider-Man tickets. Like, guys, scalping movie tickets is the stupidest. I know we're going off topic here. I'm just saying this now. Scalping movie tickets is the stupidest thing you could ever do. I'm just being honest here. There's no point in scalping movie tickets because there'll always be tickets available. Like, it's not something you can scalp that's like rare and hard to get. Like, homie, I was able to see Spider-Man No Way Home when it came out. So you think I care about paying $14,000 for the stupid ticket when I can literally just go into my movie theater, spend $6 and watch the movie and have a good time with my friends? So rant over. But the other thing they showed off was the 3090 Ti. And yes, this isn't primarily a gaming card. Will there be people buying this for gaming? Yes, let's just be real here, because people do that with 3090. The 3090 Ti is primarily geared toward 3D artists and 3D rendering. And yes, it is a very exciting and powerful looking card. Do I think a lot of people will be able to get it? Probably not, because even though, yes, this is designed for 3D artists and 3D rendering and CAD designing, yeah, scalpers are going to be like, ooh, GPU, more horsepower, start crypto mining, let's get this bread. The usual bull crap that we have to deal with, because, lol, the supply shortage still exists. In terms of Intel, this is a very exciting year for Intel as well. That personally has me excited that, for laptops, for people that want to upgrade laptops. The fact that we are getting the Alder Lake CPUs in the laptop space now is very exciting, especially because of the E-cores and the P-cores and the efficiency boost. And hopefully with this Alder Lake architecture, that means that we are able to see better battery life in Intel laptops, that we are able to see better thermal performance, that we are able to see a better handling of certain things. And this is also another thing that comes in because NVIDIA is, tag teaming into the space as well. That, yeah, NVIDIA is coming out with the 3070 Ti for laptops, 3080 Ti, and they're boasting, specifically the 3080 Ti, that it's rivaling the old Titan card that was on desktops, and that, yeah, that it outperforms the M1 Max, which, let's be real, they're going to make really big claims about that, because the M1 Max, people have been jerking that thing off saying that it's better than a desktop 3080, let's go. Like, no, it's not, guys. Yes, is it good at its specific task? Absolutely. Is it going to outperform a 3080 in every single thing? No, the 3080 will still always beat it in a majority of tasks, except very specific things. So let's be real here. Let's turn down the Apple hype train and stop being sheep, and let's just be objective when we're talking about these things. So NVIDIA this year, besides the new GPUs, do I think they're going to announce the 4000 series this year? Probably not, but if they do, I wouldn't be surprised. However, another thing that is going to be a bit exciting is if Intel, I know we're jumping back and forth as well with Intel, that Intel, if they do show off their GPUs, because it was already showed off at the Game Awards that they made a brief announcement, or at least like did a trailer, or if you want to say like an ad for their GPUs. The fact that if we finally get to see a little bit more in detail about this and just see like a more open discussion about these GPUs from Intel, like having a third player in the GPU space is very important, especially, well, it provides competition and, well, provides supply for the large demand of GPUs right now, which a lot of people want new GPUs. But outside of those things, another thing I'm personally excited for is going to be, well, the iPhone 14 coming out this year. And I know you're probably thinking, Josh, why the hell are we talking about the iPhone 14? But as we mentioned before, this is an episode where we will be talking about, well, pieces of tech that I'm excited for this year. And the reason the iPhone 14 even remotely sticks out like a sore thumb for me is if the rumors are true and they finally get rid of this godforsaken notch. Like, I have always hated the notch. When they originally showed it with the iPhone X in 2017, I was like, this is the ugliest hunk of shit that I've ever seen in my life. And I know, pardon my language, but yes, I thought it was the stupidest looking design I've ever seen. I get it. People are like, it's the future, bro. It's futuristic. And I'm like, this looks ugly as all sin. This looks stupid, and this looks like pointless technology because Face ID is stupid and Touch ID is better. Get over it. It objectively is better. It always will be better. It's more secure than your face. It's also more accurate and more useful, especially when we live in a society now where we're wearing face masks, and unlocking your phone with your face that is being covered by a mask ain't so good and useful, homie. And some people are like, well, you can use your Apple Watch to unlock the thing. Or hear me out, how about you put both options and let people choose which one they want? And if the rumors are true that they get rid of not rid of Face ID, but get rid of the notch, and they realize like having that stupid cutout in there is a waste of space, then, oh my God, Apple finally realizing, hey, making these stupid design choices probably isn't a good idea. And I'm looking at you, 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros with that dumb notch, which you put a damn notch in the thing and it doesn't even have Face ID. It doesn't even have the sensors for Face ID in there. It's just a webcam. Why would you put a notch? Like, why would you put a notch in there if it doesn't have face unlock? Like, I don't know. This company confuses me more than they do. They take one step forward and take like 3 steps backwards. But if they get rid of the notch in this year, I'm going to be happy about that. So, cheers to the iPhone 14 if they get rid of the notch. If they don't, well, then I'm not upgrading. So, get over it. I'm not really excited for the Samsung S22s. The main thing that, if it was to remotely interest me, is the fact that it will confirm the Note line is dead, which we already thought it was. I've already been saying this for a while now, that yes, the Note line will be dead because the S22 Ultra is rumored to have an S Pen inside of it. So the Note line is realistically dead at this point. The OnePlus 10 Pro got shown off as well. I'm excited to see the performance for this sucker. I'm excited to see the camera performance because that's another big thing, especially because, well, you paid the Hasselblad. Well, they paid Hasselblad who knows how many millions of dollars for their 3-year deal, so you might as well get the most out of it. So hopefully the camera performance is incredible. The OnePlus 9 Pro, the OnePlus 9 Pro already had great cameras to begin with. It's just, well, there were some downsides with it, even though OnePlus right now as a company isn't necessarily in the best limelight, just being honest with you guys here. Another piece of tech that isn't going to be very interesting for me to see how they turn out this year is the VR space. There are reports coming out that PlayStation will be coming out with the PlayStation VR 2 and that Oculus will be making another headset this year that's even smaller than the Quest 2, which from my personal experience of having a Quest 2, I love this thing to absolute death. I haven't really used it so much because I've just been playing more on my Xbox and playing more World of Tanks, but just being honest with you guys here. But every time I played it, I've loved it to absolute death. I love my Quest 2. I love having it. It is a great piece of technology to have, and I'm excited to keep using it and as it keeps evolving throughout, the course of having it. It's just a really great headset, to be honest with you guys. But VR is going to be a very interesting thing this year, especially if there is an update to maybe the Valve Index, or maybe another company updates their VR headsets as well. But another thing that also is going to be interesting will be the Steam Deck when it finally launches. And to be honest, I pray to sweet mother in heaven. I pray to my Father in heaven that if the Steam Deck is amazing, I'm going to laugh my ass off because I'm going to be like, well, this just shows that Nintendo continues to be brain dead incompetent because they don't know what their consumers want, which is actually more performance in this form factor. People like the form factor of the Switch. They like what it can do. They just need it with more power because, let's be real here, it was already underpowered when it came out when, I don't know, smartphones were outperforming it. And some people are like, a smartphone can't run these games. Guys, the chipsets in most modern, basically in every smartphone starting from 2018, outperformed the chipset in the Switch by a county mile. Like, the Switch can't even outperform the PS4 and the Xbox One, which is very, very depressing. Like, if you give us the PS4 level performance in the Switch body, I think a lot of people will be happy. But overall, I'm excited for the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck. I'm excited to see how this sucker turns out and once it finally starts shipping. I'd say another thing that has me excited is the games coming out this year. That's another big thing. The games coming out, like on my birthday, January 20th. Whoop, whoop. Pokemon Legends Arceus will be coming out, and then also Elden Ring will be in February. Horizon Forbidden West, and then we're also going to get God of War, which I wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed out of this year. We might see Breath of the Wild 2 this year. We might. Bayonetta 3. We're going to see Bayonetta 3. Splatoon 3, maybe. Maybe an update on Metroid Prime 4. Maybe Metroid Prime 4 update. More like Starfield from Xbox Studios or Bethesda, but they got bought out by Xbox, so now it's going to be an Xbox exclusive. Maybe an update regarding the Elder Scrolls 6. Get us an update regarding that stuff. Maybe some other first party games from Xbox, give us a better update. Hellblade Saga 2, so excited for that. To be honest, this is going to be a very interesting year, but the main thing that I really hope that happens this year is the end of the chip shortage. I just want the chip shortage to end. Like, come on. Like, hopefully things can get back to a semblance of normal so that there is more supply to meet the demand that people have, so that scalping can finally go rot in hell where it belongs, so you don't have to deal with scalpers anymore, because you'll be able to go walk into a store and probably buy a PS5. I don't think that will happen this year. I think it will probably bleed in maybe a little bit into 2023, but at least this year, or at least closer to the end of the year, we're going to start seeing like stock being more readily available in stores you could just walk in and go pick one up. Another thing that I actually did forget to mention, I didn't mention this, but it is coming out next month, and I already put my pre-order in for it. I did start to get into Instax photography. I bought an Instax, the Fuji Instax Evo. It's their new flagship like Instax camera that they're coming out with. It's like $200. I'm really excited for that camera, primarily the fact of, it's an Instax, and I've been wanting to use one of these suckers for a while, but it primarily uses a lot of the Fuji film simulations, and it's a hybrid camera, so it works as a film camera that, uses the film, Fuji film, but it also works as a digital camera, where you don't have to have film inserted to take a photo. If you want to print it, then yes, you have to put the film, but it also works as a digital camera, so you can save files to an SD card on it, and to me, it's a perfect fit for me, like that I can just use when I'm out and about, or like on the street, or say I'm with my family and just use it when I'm out with the guys. And also the printer that I bought too, the wide printer. I'm very excited for that, because that'll be very useful for client shoots when I'm working with clients, so I can give them samples right off the bat. Like, I can just give them some samples right then and there and not really have to worry about much. But overall, this is going to be a very exciting year for pieces of tech coming out. Like, I'm mostly excited for the camera body. That's really, really what I care about, is that camera body and maybe a lens or two. But outside of that, it's a very exciting year. I'm excited to see how the AMD 7000 series desktop processors turn out, because, if it turns out good and the upgrade is a reasonable price, then I'll probably upgrade this year and upgrade my 3900 to maybe a 7900, if that's what they want to call it, and it will go great with my 3070. For a lot of people, the 3050 will probably be a good upgrade for a lot of people that are maybe any 1050 or lower, but to me, it is going to be a very exciting time. It's going to be a very exciting year, and I'm excited to enjoy this year with you guys, especially because this is the third year of doing this show. I'm excited to see the growth. I'm excited to see how we grow, not only as a commentator, but also as a person along the way. And to me, I'm excited for this year, and I hope you guys are too. But at the end of the day, thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for, taking some time to listen to me and just have a conversation. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What are you the most excited about this year, whether it be from AMD, Intel, whether it be from NVIDIA, whether it be from, say, Sony, for camera brands like Sony, Nikon, Fuji, Olympus, all the camera brands, or if you're excited for new monitors coming out, or if you're excited for things coming from PlayStation and Xbox, or stuff from Nintendo. Like, let me know what you guys are excited for this year. Let me know in the comments down below. But as always, guys, thank you guys so much for your time. I love you guys to death. I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful week and weekend. I know tomorrow, at the time that this episode goes live, I'll be driving back to Lubbock to go back to work and also start my third to last semester, which I'm very excited about, because after I finish the semester and then survive a summer of hell, I'll be graduating. Well, I'll have 1 year and then I get to graduate. I have to go through one more year, but it's very exciting, guys, and it's a lot, to be honest. But I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys so much for your time. Please continue to be safe. Don't do anything dumb, guys. Please continue to be kind and respectful to those around you, because I'm just being real. The world is still a weird place out there. So, guys, be safe, have fun, and don't do anything dumb. And I love you guys to death. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys. Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.